Right, if you're a seasoned winter carper, then click that X up in the corner and you don't need to watch this. But if you're new to fishing in the winter, or you want to fish in the winter and only done a little bit, here's my top 12 tips that I use to keep warm through the winter. Right, these are in no order at all, they're just as they come to me. So, number one, bivy shelter. You'll need this to keep warm and dry out the wind, rain and whatever the elements can chuck at you. These days we've got luxuries of bivvies. When I started back in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, we had an old lorry tarpaulin sheet that we'd made a bivvy out of. These days you can get everything you can imagine and more. So you can get single skins, double skins, triple skins, different types of material, different extensions. It's endless. So what you need to do is get yourself a bivvy that I would recommend slightly bigger than you need, and at least a double skin. I use a double skin bivvy with an overwrap, so it actually makes it like a triple skin. The ground sheet is sewn in, so that helps with wind reduction underneath, so you don't get so much draft into the bivvy. Now, everybody who knows me, who watches the channel, know I absolutely love the Fox Frontier X. Wouldn't change it, love it to pieces. But in the winter, I use a Tracker SLX V3 two-man. It's not massive, it's not really a two-man, it's a one-man, well, one stroke 1.5 man, shall we call it, or one man plus is the best way to describe it. So it's big enough to get all my kit in. It gives me a little bit of room, but it's still sort of a sensible size to get in swims, and being a triple skin, it just makes it that much warmer. So that's my recommendation for bivvies. Up to you which are. There's quite a few nice ones out there. I've been looking at the Avid one, and I think it's called the HD something layer. I've seen that, a couple of mates got that. That's really nice as well, lots of room, double skinned. But yeah, there's loads out there, but definitely a double skinned, if not double skinned with an overwrap, just to make it that little bit much warmer and nicer for your session. Number two. Right, so we've talked of bivy. Now, bivy position can make a difference. When you get to the lake, you find your swim. Go on an app, find where you are on a weather app, find where you are and find where the wind's going to be coming in for most of your session. Position your bivy so it's out of the wind a bit. If you want to look and stare at the lake all day, you can do. Obviously, if it's going to push into your face, you're going to get colder. So if you can position your bivy, you get a compass. On most smartphones these days, you have weather apps, you have compasses and all that sort of stuff. So get your bivy set up and get it with the app, weather app, and with the compass. You can set your bivy that is hopefully going to sort of stop the wind coming flat in your face all the while, full in your face should I say. And so that's another way of sort of like keep them warm. Sometimes you can't, you've got no choice, but if you're in a decent sized swim and you've got, or cover as another thing, trees and stuff like that, bushes, you can get tucked behind and that sort of stuff. We don't have as many sort of daylight hours now, so in winter, so you don't have to sit and watch the lake like 24/7, because you can't, because it's dark. So you can get your bivy set up so it makes it a much more comfortable stay for you. Number three, bed system or bed. You spend in the winter a lot of time in your bed, so get a nice one. Obviously some of them can be quite expensive, you have to get what you can afford, but there are ways of making a cheaper system better by getting covers. There's so many out there to fit everybody's sort of price range, shall we say. I've just bought a new one which is amazing, which I am going to do a review on in the next month or so. Anyway, again, back when I started, back in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, we was using the sun loungers that used to click and make such a noise, and they were so uncomfortable, and they came in sort of blue or green, you know, not carpy. Well, the green ones were, but the blue ones weren't. But that's what we had. We didn't have specialised beds so much then. Well, there might have been some around, but we couldn't afford it, as I was a lot younger then. So these days, the choice is just massive. Like I say, something to suit everybody's budget. You can get just a bed, you can get a bed with a sleeping bag, you can get a bed with a sleeping bag zipped to the bed, you can get covers inside, you can get different layers. Up until recently, I was using a bed with a sleeping bag. I used to sleep on the sleeping bag, and I had a thermal cover, really thick thermal cover that used to go over the top of me. I've now recently bought a sleep system, and it's with a memory foam base to the bed. It's changed my fishing. I'm getting older now. I've got lots of like injuries from years ago from racing, so pins and plates and that sort of, and screws. So I need the comfort, I need the warmth. This has changed my life. It wasn't cheap, but it's going to be worth every penny. So get one that suits you. Like I say, you can always buy a bed and a sleeping bag, and then you can always add a cover to it, or just bring your own duvet, you know, whatever. You need to be warm during the night, because the temperatures drop, and if you're not warm for the night, you're not getting your sleep. You only need to be awake when you obviously get a run. So if you can get some sleep and keep warm, you'll fish more efficient during the day. Now, number 4. This is an old-fashioned one. I've used this for years on and off. Well, we used to get winters back then. Now we don't get, the winters are not so bad, but as I've got older, they feel as bad, but they're not as bad. You can get a hot water bottle. You don't have to have a camo, it doesn't have to be a named brand. You can buy a cheap one. I like this one. I've got 2 of these, and because of broken ankles and broken legs, femurs and that sort of stuff, and my hip, I have 2. I have one down on my feet, one on my hip. And everyone carries a stove. You boil a kettle, you fill the hot water bowls up, chuck them in your sleeping bag, and it warms it up, and they stay warm for a couple of hours. So it's a simple, cheap, effective way of just keeping warm in your sleeping bag. Number 5, and it's obvious, clothes. Bring enough clothes. Whether you bring them to your bivvy or put them in your van or your car or whatever, make sure you've got plenty of clothes. In the winter, definitely hat. I mean, as you can see, I'm a baldy. I've got this quite thick, nice DNA hat. I also carry a floppy hat. I've got a couple of these are really nice. They've also got a hole in the top, so you can actually pull it down and bring it around your neck. And then I've got my nice old favourite Fox, really warm hat. So hats are really good. Even if you've got hair, your heat comes out your head. I sleep in hat. I've got a hat I've had for years that's gone so floppy, and so it's lost all its elasticity. I can't even say it. But anyway, it's lost all its stretchiness. It's just floppy, but it sits on my head really nice. And because I've got like no hair, it sort of seems to velcro a little bit to me. I sleep in that, because at the end of the day, the only thing that's out of your sleeping bag is your head. If your head gets cold, you get cold. So coats, that's another thing. As you can see, I've got a nice thick, this is a Fox Gillet on. I use that over top of a hoodie. Hoodies are good. Hoodies stop the draft getting in around your neck. Joggers, I don't really I just use normal joggers. My legs don't tend to get too cold. Socks, I have got some thermal sort of socks with boots I use. Again, keep your feet warm and dry. That's what you need to be. As for hands, I have broken my wrists, so I've had them rebuilt, so they do suffer a bit. So I've got these are tracker gloves. So basically they're a lovely glove, but you can have it as a mitten, and you can pull that off, and then you've got fingerless gloves, so you can work on your rigs and baiting and do whatever you want to do. So again, clothes, keep yourself warm and dry, and it'll make it much nicer. Number 6, food and drink. We are an engine. Engines need fuel. Our fuel is food and drink. Simple as that. If you get hungry and thirsty, you're not going to fish as efficiently. Now, food, I do like chilies and that. Eat what you want, as long as it's hot food. If you're bringing cold foods to eat, it's not going to help. It's okay, it fuels you, but I find hot foods like curries and chilies and that tend to make me a bit warmer. As for drinks, you know, whether it's tea, coffee, chocolates, whatever you like, use them. Keep yourself warm. Alcohol, beers and lagers and all that sort of stuff actually can make you cold, believe it or not. But what you can do, for one little tip, and this is what I use, and I got this off an old Navy bloke eye tattoo. He puts a drop of rum in whatever he drinks. So I like my teas and my hot chocolates and my lattes. I'm not a coffee drinker, but you can use it. I've got a mate who's it, and I was bought a couple of little hip flasks, and I have spiced rum in that. And what I do is I just drop a little drop of that in my tea or my latte or my hot chocolate, and it just you don't get pissed. It's just to drop a little bit in, and it just warms you, and you'll be surprised how quickly that can warm you up just a little bit. You're still efficient, you can still fish, you're not pissed, but it just warms you internally better than lagers and beers can. So that's another little tip. Number 7, be prepared. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Make sure everything is charged, make sure you've got everything. Make sure everything's in your bivvy, so you don't have to go back to the van or the car or whatever you turn up at the lake in. So once you're in the bivvy, because winter it can change quickly, you're in your bivvy. If it starts pissing down and rain, there's thunderstorms, there's winds, there's gales, whatever, if you've got everything in your bivvy and everything's ready to go, you can just sit in there and wait till you get a fish. In winter we don't get as many fish, so you do spend a lot of time in your bivvy. And if you can sit in your bivvy in the dry, in the warm, out of the wind and rain, you'll be a lot more comfortable. So make sure everything's charged, you've got spare batteries, you've got spare food, you've got spare clothes, everything's ready to go when you need it. If you need it, you'll be much better off. Number 8, now this is the one a lot of my mates will laugh about, because this is me. Be prepared in the night. I have a system. Everything has a place, and it goes in its place, and it goes in the same place every time I fish. So in the night I don't even have to put a head torch on if I don't want to. I know where everything is. So when you get up, you know exactly where everything is. You can put your coat on, you can grab your head torch, you can grab this, you can grab that. Everything is where you need it when you want it. It sounds stupid, but if you're fumbling around and you can't find stuff, and then it's raining and you haven't got your torch, you haven't got your coat, you can't see what you're doing, it's a nightmare. So just all it is, it's such a simple one. Be prepared, find a system, stick to that system, and you'll be amazed how much better it makes you. Number 9 is going to cover a couple of different options, so bear with me on this one. So the lake itself. Now if you go to day tickets, you're not on a syndicate, you can look up the weather ahead, see what's coming in, whether there's any storms, any winds, or which directions, or rains, thunderstorms, whatever, and choose a lake to suit what the storm is. Now if you're on a syndicate, obviously you're going to your syndicate, but what you still can do is work out the wind and try and get some sort of coverage from trees and bushes in position and bivvy, like I said in one of the other ones. So if you position yourself on a lake in a certain swim, in a certain way, it can make things a lot more comfortable for that session. Such a simple thing, but it's helped me a lot over the years. Number 10, this is a simple thing as well, but so many people don't do it. Keep spares in your vehicle in the car park. It doesn't matter how far away you are from your van or your car, you've got spares in your bivvy, but chances are sometimes you do forget something, or you wasn't as stocked up as you thought. Now if you've got spares in your vehicle, it helps. Yes, you have to pull your rods in, but you can go back and get them. So in my van I keep a spare box of clothes, a spare box of there's a spare box and it's got in it gas cylinders, rubbish bags, all sorts of things, lighters, all those sorts of things. So whatever spare PVA nuggets, I mean, I've got spares of everything in my van, so even if I do forget or run out, you every now and again you might have that cracking session and you run out of PVA bags, or you might have a really wet session and go through all your clothes you keep in your bivvy. I know I can reel my rods in, go back to the van, and I've got spares. Again, it makes your session so much more comfortable. Number 11, it's winter. There's a lot of dark or very dim lit daylight hours. So what you need to do is be prepared for it. Bivy lights, photography lights, videography lights, head torches, all those sort of things. Make sure they're charged if they're chargeable. Make sure you've got spare batteries if they've got batteries. Get yourself set up ready for the night, so you ain't got to mess around in the night if it's dark. And then I had it actually last night. This is what made me think of this one. I wasn't expecting to get a bite. I got a bite, and then I had to piss around with setting tripods and lights and all this sort of stuff. And then one of my head torches, it ran out of charge, so I had to use my other one, which doesn't go as far. I've got one that's sort of like quite a long beam, so I can cast to the spot I was on. It ran out of charge, so I had to use my other one. I couldn't really see, so I wasn't on the spot. So get yourself prepared just in case, because the time you don't prepare for that bite, you will get one. Number 12. Now I know some of my mates will take the piss out of me about this one, and I have been a bit hardcore over the years, and I've slept with just under some sort of makeshift canopy, like I said earlier on in the video, a tarpaulin lorry sheet made to make a bivvy, brollies that have no fronts on whatsoever. Now you don't have to be hardcore. Now I know some of my mates out there, they are extremely hardcore. They fish throughout the winter with next to nothing, but you don't have to. It's entirely your choice how you want to fish. So if you've got your bivvy set up, like I said in one of the ones, and the wind changes and it starts coming in the front, pull the front down. You can zip one side down, you can zip both sides down, you can letterbox it. On some bivvies you've got like the velcro bit, so what you can do, you can zip it down but velcro it up, just to give yourself that bit more comfort. You don't have to have the whole front off, you don't have to have no ground sheet, you don't have to look good. You need to be comfortable, whatever suits you. If you want to do that and you want to be hardcore, that's fine, that's great. I mean, I've been there, I've done it. Nowadays I like my little bit of luxury. So yeah, last night the wind turned, it was coming in my face, so I dropped the front door down on the overwrap, and I zipped one side down and left one side open, so I could still get out quite comfortably, but it just sort of buffered me from the wind a bit. So there, you don't have to be hardcore, but if you want to be, it's great for the old Instagram and YouTube. But if you want a bit more comfort, you can have it. Right, so that's my little tips and tricks for the fishing through the winter. It's not for everybody, it's what I've found helps me. Hopefully if you take one or two of these and it helps you, great. If you don't need none of these and you've got your own system, that's great as well. If you've got things you do that I haven't mentioned, put them in the comments below. Let's help everybody. It's all about caring and sharing. So yeah, as you can probably see, I've got the light on now because as on cue, the storm's now coming in and it's got really dark. I was prepared, I had a light ready, so thanks for watching, and if you haven't liked and subscribed, do all that sort of stuff, and check out my other videos. New reviews to come, more lakes to come, and see you in the future. Right, so if you've watched till now at the end, which I usually do, there is a chance to win. So those of you who follow the channel know that I actually I'm a tattooist, and I do actually design custom stickers and mugs and stuff, so for the channel. So if you've got a comment, or what do you want to say, a tip, shall we say a tip that you recommend for winter that's different to any of mine, no matter what it is, if you email me here, email, not message below, and then what I'll do is I'll pick my favorite one of them, what I think is the best one, and you have a chance to win either a mug with the custom design on, or a pack of, I don't know what it'll be, 8, 9, 10, 11 stickers. I'll probably give you the option, but email me with your thing. I will then put it on my Facebook channel, which is here, and I will contact you, and you will win either a mug or a pack of stickers in the near future, probably about a month or so's time. Gives you time to people to sort of watch it. So thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one.